guys, just got done beating Dying Light today, and I wanted to give a review on what I thought of the game. Want to start with the storyline. I think the storyline was really well written on this. There wasn't anything that was too cheesy, anything like that. The story didn't seem disconnected. Definitely kept you interested. I actually wanted to play through the story of it, not focus. I focused a lot on the side missions, but it really made me want to play the main story, kind of to see what would happen. It was some good cliffhangers, things like that. You definitely kind of got attached, we'll say, to some of the main actors that were in it. You saw their struggles, you understood what they were going through, you could feel what they were feeling, so they did a really good job with that. Even the side missions were really good on being standalones, but still being connected to what's going on in the world. Again, the sense of despair and everything that's going on. There's a mission that you get with Rupert, who's caring for a whole bunch of little kids, and he's basically putting on a show, pretending that nothing's going on, that everything's just a game to keep the kids calm. So, I mean, these are things that you would kind of expect on some level to be happening if something like this ever happened. So, they did a really good job with the storyline. As for the fighting I think was very well done. Not so much on like what your character's doing. They add some special abilities, the ground stomps and the whirlwind that you can do. It always seemed like every time I was trying to do one or the other, I always had the wrong weapon, either one hand or two hands. So I didn't actually use a lot of those. And I didn't focus on a lot of the ground stuff where you can kick and tackle and all that. And there are definitely some missions where I wish I would have focused on that a little bit more. But the fighting is good. It's smooth. They knock you around a little bit. You kind of trip and stumble, so it's a little bit more realistic. You don't just get knocked back a little bit. I think what impressed me even more than the fighting was more how the zombies would fight against you. You'd be fighting one guy, or maybe see one or two, and that was it, and all of a sudden out of the blue there'd be 3 or 4 behind you. And so they were really good about kind of sneaking up on you, not expecting that, or you'd see 1 or 2 by themselves, you'd start attacking them, all of a sudden 3 or 4 were walking at you, and then there's like a mob right behind them. So it was kind of good about really making you want to check your surroundings. There are some missions where car alarms, like right here actually in this mission that you're watching, car alarm goes off when you go inside and just brings all kinds of people out. So that was, I think, what was really interesting about it. Even though they move pretty slow, you know, you had the bolters and the volatiles and all that run really fast, but even just the regular zombies, as slow as they moved, they would swarm you so quickly, sometimes unexpectedly, that it was a little bit hard to get out of it. You found high ground really, really quick. Definitely helped to have some different elixirs with you, resistance elixirs, plenty of med kits, all that kind of stuff. So the fighting I was really impressed with on the zombie side of things. As far as mine, I was okay with it. Like I said, there was definitely nothing really wrong. Only side or drawback that I wasn't crazy about is, and you saw this with the camouflage too, when you'd use it, it would blur your vision. You'd get blood on your face, all this. I mean, I realized they're probably going for kind of a realism kind of part of that it would splatter. But blurring my screen, not being able to see what I was trying to do, that kind of bothered me a little bit. But again, it washed away, you know, after 5-10 seconds, whatever, it was gone. But that was the only complaint I'd say I had in the fighting. As for the controls in the game, I was really impressed with how they set it up. They made it very simple. It wasn't, you didn't have to sit there and rethink every time you switched between games, like what you were doing, how you played it. Using the D-pad to switch between your gadgets and your main weapons, be able to have that option to have 3 or 4 different weapons kind of at your disposal there. That was really, really handy. With moving around the game itself, the parkour aspect of it, I really enjoyed that. The more you use it, the better you got at it, so that was kind of neat. This game did that really well with all the different styles. You know, you wanted to become a better fighter, you had to fight. You wanted to survive better, you had to be out of night more. And I mean, different things like that. Or you had to go get the packages from the airdrops. But the parkour was really neat. Everything that you could see, you had access to. If you can figure out how to climb up to it, you can get to it. So I was really impressed with how they did that. Moving on to the weapons, there wasn't really anything that necessarily impressed me about the weapons. I kind of wish that once you had the better upgrades, like I had King on this one, I was kind of hoping that maybe it would give it a different look to the weapon. I mean, it's kind of silly, I guess. It's, you know, just cosmetic, but that's something I kind of like to see. The weapons are, once you have one, they all kind of start looking the same. Your upgrades, you put, poison on there, you put electricity on there, fire on there, they all kind of do the same things. As far as those upgrades, I really did enjoy those. I wasn't crazy every time you hit somebody, they would shoot, or you hit them with electricity and you walk to their body to loot them, and you'd end up shocking yourself. That kind of pissed me off a little bit. But again, it was worth it. The upgrades definitely made the weapons more powerful. With the difficulty of the game, it wasn't anything that was insane. I mean, a beginner player could definitely get in here and start playing around. The difficulty was kind of what you wanted to make it. If you wanted to jump into a mob of 50 guys, you can do that, definitely made it a lot more difficult. You wanted to have the elixirs, you had to get up high, you had to use your Molotovs, firecrackers, or whatever you had, or exploding traps is one of my favorite. I use that one a lot. Moving around the volatiles, the bigger guys, sledgehammer guys, all that, you kind of learn how to maneuver around them a little bit. The guys that spit out the poison at you, those guys were always a hassle, and I could always had a hard time trying to figure out where they were. But like I said, the game was just kind of as difficult as you wanted to make it. If you wanted to kind of hang back, pick one guy off at a time, throw a distraction down, bring in small groups, you can fight that way. So they really opened it up to all skill levels. Now, some people might complain about having to grind out the ingredients that you always need, the chemicals, the herbs, all that kind of stuff. But the game does a really good job of having pretty much everyone and anything drop it. If you're looking for specific items, cosmetics, you go into the houses to find that kind of stuff. Metal, nails, you can go to construction sites to find those. So they kind of made it specific to certain environments. But overall, all the zombies dropped pretty much every item that you can come across. It didn't ever really seem redundant. You were going through the houses already. You were going through killing the zombies already. So it was kind of everything you needed was just kind of along the way. There are ways to duplicate items, which I'm not going to lie, I did go ahead and do that towards the end. For me, it was just something I wanted to try out, see how it worked. I didn't really care. I actually used a companion app that's available. I would highly, highly recommend that, especially when you start off. The app itself, it's kind of stupid. You don't really do anything. You send scouts out and you wait a time limit for them to come back with the items. But it is a great way to just farm out some of the random ingredients that you just don't want to spend time looking for. I found a Korok machete pretty early on in the game, and that took, I think it was 20 pieces or 20 metal pieces, which, again, very early in the game, that was kind of hard to come by. So I was sending my scouts out all the time in that companion app and just rounding up, anywhere between maybe 8 to 10 pieces every time I'd start the game. So that was really helpful to have that. But yeah, grinding out the ingredients, again, it's kind of like, this is toward the end of it. I was already duplicating, so right now I was just kind of killing people, just running through it. I didn't want to sit there and take the time to have to search every single body, but they didn't make it where it was redundant. They made it where you just kind of, it was a part of the game, and you just kind of kept moving with it. Last thing I wanted to talk about was the replay value. I personally think this game has a lot of replay value. They're talking about some of the other expansions with the season pass, all that kind of stuff. They're talking about, I can't remember the term they were using. It was like a nightmare mode where everything was super, super hard. If you're going to use that, I highly recommend practice, go out at night now in the regular game, kind of get used to how to run around, how everything chases you. But I think that's going to make it real interesting. The season pass should open up a couple new areas, so that's going to keep it kind of fresh. I have not actually played the online version yet. I know there's a blueprint you can get just from beating the online one time. That is something I'll update this with later and put that on there and let you guys know what I think. But yeah, the replay's pretty good on it. There's so many side missions that it definitely, even after beating the game, I've gone back a couple times now and still, for, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 hours now, I've gone back and played just the side missions, just trying to wrap those up. I found one for Dahlia, which I've talked about in another video, for making a cloak potion, which was absolutely amazing. I really wish I would have had that earlier on in the game. Definitely recommend doing the side missions. It just makes going out at night, doing different things a little bit easier. You hear more stories. There's the notes you can find if you want more of that storyline. Find the notes, find the journal entries, read through those. They're really interesting. Some of them give you a couple little hints on what to do or where to go. But the side missions, they did a great job of kind of adding more layers to what's going on, how the people are interacting or surviving in this world now, and it was very interesting. They did a good job of that. So obviously you guys can tell I absolutely hated the game because I'm only saying horrible things about it. I highly recommend picking it up. It is a great game. I've really enjoyed it. I've played a lot of different kind of zombie games like this before. I think the thing that made this one really unique for me was that storyline. It really hooked me. It wanted me to keep playing. It wanted me to keep finding out. You see how some people were cutthroat, some people wanted to help out. So the storyline for me is what really made this game good. And some people, they don't care about the story. Other people will play a game strictly because of the story. This kind of had it all. The action was good. The weapons were good. The controls were good. The movement style was good. And again, storyline was great to me. So highly recommend picking it up. Leave me some comments if you guys disagree with anything, if you think I left anything out. And if you guys like this video, then subscribe so we can help you guys or talk to you guys again in the future. We'll see you next time.